Full day today with mostly sunny skies. We'll see a high
Good morning,
73
everybody on
degrees,
YouTube. It's
sunshine,
Dominic
partly
Cortez
cloudy
along
with
with
a low
Paul
down to
Bologna
55.
from the State Assembly.
And for the day tomorrow, some
And
sunshine,
we'll be talking about the
clouds,
draft
late
plan
day shower or
and the
thunderstorm around. We'll see a
electrification
high of
movement.
82.
Senator Robert
And for
Orr
the day
will be
on
joining
Monday,
us as
fairly
well.
cloudy and
So thanks for being part of our
thunderstorm or two
YouTube
around
live
with a
audience.
high of
Be sure to
76.
like and share us as we grow our Hammer Time TV audience. Thanks for being there. We're about to begin.
The WBE and Paul Davis Restoration Newsroom is a news feed that never stops. Stay in the know and follow our updated X feed for the latest by following at WBEN.
Here we go. Good morning, Buffalo. Yes, Dominic Cortez here. And yes, Hammer Time Radio starts right here, right now.
Leaking roof? Need new windows? Looking to remodel your kitchen or bath? You've come to the right place and the right time. Broadcasting on News Radio 930 WBN.
What's your assembly number?
1989.
144.
This is
144.
Hammer Time Radio. Brought to you by Lakeshore Bank. Putting people first since 1891. Now, your host, your man for home improvements, Dominic Cortez.
Good morning, homeowners, and welcome once again to Hammer Time Radio here on WBEN, promising to keep you up to date on what's going on with electrification. We're going to spend the first half hour or so talking about that. And in studio with me is Paul Bologna from the New York State Assembly, District 144. Hey, Paul.
Dominic, how are you? Good to see you. Good to be in with you.
Thanks for coming in. Yeah, it's good to have you in studio. The New York State Energy Plan is conducting public forums, I guess we'll call them, around the state. There was one virtual one last Saturday. The whole idea here is to get the public's opinion. Is this something that's going on deaf ears, or is this something that the public's voice is going to be heard?
Well, the optimist in me wants to say that the public's input is going to be taken into account. But sometimes I think that the cake is already baked before a lot of these things happen. I can tell you right now that myself and all of our my colleagues in at least our side of the aisle attended the hearing that was here in Buffalo a couple weeks ago.
At the library? At
the Buffalo Public Library. There was a very strong showing there. And, I think that we made some really strong points. I think that we drove our points home of how terrible of an idea this universal electrification is. And, I'm really proud of our conference and our colleagues for showing up.
Were there people advocating for electrification?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
So what planet were they from?
That's a great question. And this is the thing, that New York State's contribution to the global, carbon footprint in the world, like the world, is like 0.04%.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of the points that I actually made at the hearing. It's fine if you want to protect the environment. I think that's great. But there has to be a balance between protecting the environment and growing the economy at the same time. You can't make fundamental changes and destroy our economy to save 0.04% of the environment.
It goes beyond the economy. It's safety.
It's
safety
a lot of
is
things.
at risk.
Exactly.
Public safety is at risk. And this is what's being ignored.
Yeah.
As of January 1, a house has to be 100% electric. Now, should there be a snowstorm subsequent to that January 1 building of that structure, and people die in a home that they freeze in, how have we stepped forward?
We haven't. We're taking steps backwards. And so there's another really important piece to all of this that I want your audience and the general public really needs to understand this. New York State does not have an energy supply problem. Let me repeat that. New York State does not have an energy supply problem. We have enough energy between our traditional energy sources and renewable to go around. The crisis that we have is a capacity and transmission problem. Meaning, I don't care if you have, for our electric grid right now, you could mix Niagara Falls with Victoria Falls, and you could build all the solar panels and windmills that you want. if you can't get the energy from the source to the consumer, what good is it?
And that's a very well put point. And I've had where you're sitting, the CEO of NYSEG on basically said the same thing.
I just don't understand.
And she's the one has been mandated by the Public Service Commission and by the state to affect this change towards electrification. And she admitted that the capacity is and the infrastructure isn't there to support it.
We are almost at capacity now as it's. Remember a few months ago in the really, really hot part of summer, the governor and the mayor, Eric Adams of New York City, came out with a public service announcement to New York City residents asking them to turn off their air conditioners because they were stressing the electrical grid. That is just baseline today. So now you mean to tell me that we're going to get rid of our natural gas and we're going to add more things onto the electrical grid and somehow suddenly magically you're going to have the capacity now? And that's the problem. So for people at home, think of you getting rid of your gas stove and now putting on an electric stove. Get rid of your gas furnace and put in heat pumps. That's all adding. You're using energy instead of natural gas. Electricity instead of natural gas.
Not to mention the cost for that upgrade to have the capacity in the house is substantial, and then the cost of electricity being substantially more than gas.
Exactly. And Dominic, I can talk to you about this because you know. So let me ask you, when a developer, whether they're putting in sub-development, new homes, they need to upgrade their capacity and upgrade a substation. Who's responsible for paying that?
Right, exactly. The builder is going to pass that cost on to the homeowner. And I think, frankly, if you talk to the home builders, they're in a panic because they don't know what's going to happen to their business after January 1. They're going to be busy up until then. Building permits issued until 26 are going to be able to be gas. But after that, I think the bottom's going to fall out on new homes.
I keep saying this, and I tell this to anybody who will listen. Consumers, home purchasers are going to realize January 1st that they can't get natural gas in their new home, and they're going to lose their minds.
That's exactly right. So what's the temperature in Albany about this?
There's an unwillingness to make any type of shift or adjustments to this. I mean, look, the governor said a couple months ago, I think to Channel 2 News that she has to.
Yeah.
We have to look at making amendments or rolling back some of the phase out of natural gas. A, I haven't heard a peep about it since then. But B, the amount of blowback that she got from New York City was intense. So I have very serious concerns about going back in the session. If it were up to me, I would call a special session tomorrow and get in Albany and start repealing various portions of the CLCPA.
Now, Nick Langworthy advocating this at the federal level to have energy choice,
which I think is great.
I spoke to his office this week, and they're now trying to formulate a plan to have the Senate begin to support the idea. And the idea of getting the other side to realize how important this is, to consider it, as you mentioned already, from an economic and, as I mentioned, the safety perspective. They're hopeful that the Senate will be supportive. That process, I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't know whether it's going to happen before January 1.
I think that might be a lift. But I think that Nick is and Congressman Langworthy is spot on in what he is trying to do at the federal level. And it's important to kind of talk about this. In talking with people about all of these new changes in electrification, I don't think the people have problem with a diversified energy portfolio. I don't think people have a problem with solar or wind if they want it. I think the biggest issue that people have is in New York State, we're being denied choices going forward. I think that's the thing. We want the options.
So part of the draft plan, from what I understand, and this was maybe advocated more from National Fuel's perspective, is they're looking for kind of a blended approach. And why we're not hearing about that, I don't know. It seems to be all in the category of it being 100% electrification, and nobody's considering the fact that there might be other things that could be implemented to support electrification. So that's what National Fuel's perspective is. What's the consensus of what the draft plan at the state level is trying to achieve?
if you actually read through the draft plan, what's concerning about it is the emphasis is on renewable energy sources. Every document you read talks about the source and the renewables. That is the goal. What it doesn't talk about is the transition to get there. So, like, if you're reading through the draft plan, words like substations, transmission lines, capacity it's only mentioned a handful of times.
8030930 if you'd like to participate in the program. The next public hearing, by the way, actually the next one, there's a couple that are out of Buffalo. Let's see, today is the 20th. There was one on Thursday, Monday the 29th, Long Island, statewide virtual one on the 30th at 5 p.m. And again, this is the only chance we have as the people paying the freight to say what we feel about this.
I can't express how important it is, if you're opposed to this, to get on record and submit comment to NYSERDA on this issue.
When we come back, Senator Robert Wart will be joining us in our conversation, and we'll encourage you to have your voice heard by participating. And you can submit written comments too. We'll get into that after our first break here. Good morning from Dominic Cortez. 803-0930 is the number to call if you'd like to comment or participate in this discussion. This discussion is only for our first half hour today. In our second half hour, we'll be speaking with the owners of Budget Blinds, new sponsor of the program. And the 11 o'clock hour, open phone lines, anything around the house that needs my attention. 803-0930. Outside Buffalo, 1-800-616-WBEN. And the Volkswagen of Orchard Park text board, open and operating, same as our calling number, 803-0930. How about learning a dish that Grandma makes? Sunday at Nana's house is the next class coming up in the Come Home to Cortez Cooking School on the 22nd. That's Monday. Pasta pomodoro, chicken cutlets, and sauteed beans in garlic and oil. Sunday at Nana's, that's the theme for our Come Home to Cortez class this coming Monday. Check it out at cortez.net, the drop-down menu, everything's there. Italian American Classics, October 6th, and Classic Sauces, October 20th. Those are the next few coming up. And with the holidays around the corner, how about giving the gift of a class? You can check it all out at cortez.net. Good morning from Dominic Cortez. And before you pick up the hammer, before you pick up the drill, pick up the phone and give me a call. I'd love to talk to you. Well, before we talk to you, we're going to travel to the Depew branch of Lakeshore Bank and say hello to Anthony Verhagen. Good morning, Anthony. We lost Anthony. Anyway, Anthony Verhagen, the manager of the Depew branch of Lakeshore Bank. And, the whole idea here of banking local, oh, there he is. He came back. Did I cut you off, Anthony? I'm sorry about that. Good morning, Anthony. Good morning, Anthony.
Good morning. How are you today?
Good. Some of our listeners are probably doing their banking with banks that aren't based in Buffalo. And there are several benefits of banking locally. Tell us about that.
First, a locally operated bank understands the unique needs of Western New Yorkers. Lakeshore Bank has been serving this region for 134 years, and we understand the needs of our customers better than anyone. We have the flexibility and expertise to develop quick, customized solutions. All of our lending decisions are made right here in Western New York. Lakeshore Bank is committed to the economic health of this region by keeping deposits and loans right here in Western New York. The people that work at Lakeshore Bank are your friends and neighbors. We shop at local stores and help drive the local economy.
It says a lot, Anthony. And it sounds like it's a good time to consider switching to Lakeshore Bank, people. I know that from our experience at Cortez Construction, Lakeshore Bank has offered us great, customized, personalized service, and the bank's products and services are indeed customized to fit our needs.
That's right. The banking market right now is changing, but we've been operating right here in Western New York since 1891. If you're looking for a bank that has a long-standing presence and reputation in the community, why not take a look at Lakeshore Bank?
Why not is exactly the good question, Anthony. Tell us the phone number at the Depew branch.
Absolutely. So it's 716-898-2022. Once again, that's 716-898-2022. And I'm actually here until noon today.
Lakeshore Bank, putting people first since 1891.
Come and meet me down by the shore, Lakeshore.
Improvements? Well, you've come to the right place. Our sponsors have proudly earned the Hammer Time seal of approval by operating with honesty and integrity. So remember, to buy right the first time, buy from a Hammer Time partner. This is Dominic Cortez. Fall is on its way, and winter's not far behind. Make sure your home stays comfortable all season long with a 99 health and safety checkup from TRS.
Doesn't that say it all?
Need an upgrade? Well, TRS can recommend a high-efficiency Rheem system to keep you cozy and warm with flexible financing to fit your budget. Nothing beats Rheem. Visit TRSheatingandairconditioning.com for details. TRS Heating, Air Conditioning, and Electrical Excellence. Powering tomorrow, comforting today.
Hi, it's Susan Rose. I trusted Kitchen and Bath Unlimited for my own remodel, and 20 years later, I still recommend them to anyone. Their designers are amazing, their service outstanding, and right now their prices are unbeatable. For the first time ever, Decor Cabinets has cut prices by 25% to Kitchen and Bath Unlimited, and they're passing those savings directly to you. 25% of high-quality Decor Cabinets for your new kitchen or bathroom, saving you thousands of dollars only at Kitchen and Bath Unlimited, Union Road near Walden in Cheektowaga.
Hi, this is Dominic Cortez. My family-run business believes in supporting other family-run businesses like
This
Buffalo
is only
Plumbing
through
Showroom.
October
With
6th.
their long tradition of excellence, they offer top-quality plumbing and design
The many
solutions.
written comments.
From water sense fixtures to luxurious steam rooms and the latest Kohler innovations, you can't trust their expertise to deliver high-quality materials at great prices. Call one of their sales associates at 826-1400 and schedule a visit to the Kohler Registered Showroom located at 600 Bailey Avenue today.
Transform every room in your home with Hurdle Home Consignment. New items arriving daily, so you never know what you'll find. Get inspired by their beautifully staged showrooms on Hurdle Avenue in Buffalo
this lack
and
of
at
awareness
Georgetown
is
Plaza in
troubling.
Williamsville. Filled with
I mean, I've been
fine
waving the flag
furniture
here
and unique
I
home
don't think
accents for
people- I don't
bedrooms,
think people
living rooms, dining
know
rooms,
what's
and
going
more.
on.
See it, buy it, love it, and
And
take
the
it home
problem
today.
is they
Hurdle
can't-
Home
you still
Consignment,
can't
because
do
you've
it.
got
I
to
don't
keep
know
it
what
decorated.
New York City
Shop
thinking they're
online at
gonna do.
hurdlehomeconsignment.com.
The problem is that we're all going to be affected when there's more
Live,
intense use of the
local,
grid. We're going to start to see power surges,
all day long.
and we're going to start to see
News
brownouts.
Radio 930
exactly.
WBEN.
10:23 is Hammer Time. It's Dominic, and how are you? 8030930 on the live line with me right now is Senator Robert Ort, the Minority Leader of the State Senate, along with Paul Bologna from the Assembly in studio. Good morning, Senator Ort.
Good morning, Dominic.
Thanks for joining us on this conversation. We're talking about the draft plan and how the public has a chance to be heard. And we were just, if you hadn't heard it, wondering if the public's voice is really going to be heard with this process through the New York State energy plan. What's your opinion on that?
Well, like most things, right? This is going to be largely a political document, and there's politics is going to factor in. The governor is running for re-election next year, and so I think the more people that express concern, frustration, the more pressure on the governor from her advisors, from her folks looking at this to say, hey, maybe we got to do something, we got to pause, we got to delay, we got to shift focus. I think you've already seen a little bit of that from her with her shift to nuclear, because she knows that the state of New York can't achieve its base load requirement, which is the load you need for manufacturing, for industry, economically. You can't do that on wind and solar alone.
Right.
You need either fossil fuel, nuclear. So she knows this. The people who are, anybody who really knows, they know that this draft plan, the CLCPA, is not only driving up costs, but it's actually dangerous from a reliability standpoint, and just from a, how do we achieve enough baseload power to run New York State standpoint. But the unfortunate part is that the far left, or the ideological folks on this, the far left environmentalists and some elected officials who represent, far left areas or constituencies, they almost don't care. The politics is almost more important than sort of the practical.
But on that point, Senator, that they don't care, how could it be that there's not more awareness of the risks associated with putting all our eggs in the basket of electrification, when indeed we know firsthand, especially if you're from Buffalo, that the grid cannot be depended on in severe weather.
Well, those are two steps, meaning awareness and caring are different things. I think they are aware. If you're meeting elected officials, I think they are aware. That's the point. They don't care. New York City politicians don't care about Western New York. New York, downstate politicians, many of the people who are making these determinations, do think it's not about these. These are facts that get in the way of their real goal. Their real goal is to move New York State completely off of fossil fuels, and in doing so, to put the fossil fuel companies out of business. That is the goal. I can assure you that is the objective. That is the objective nationally. It is the objective here in New York State. You're 100% right. Obviously, places like Western New York, the North Country, and most of New York State absolutely needs a diversified energy portfolio that includes natural gas. And if you don't believe it on the public safety standpoint, let's just look at it on the cost standpoint. Pennsylvania, state right next door, also gets very cold. Some New Yorkers live minutes from Pennsylvania in the southern tier. They have energy prices that are up to 40% lower than here in New York State. Now, why is that? They have the same greedy utility companies that we do, right? They have the same weather that we do. The only difference is they have access to clean, safe, reliable, abundant natural gas, and they don't have the green sort of climate. They're not going to all electrification like we are. And so New Yorkers are paying up to 40% more than Pennsylvania. And we've already seen rates go up about 15% in the last year or so across the state. So it's not, I think the awareness piece, there's a lot of folks who maybe haven't been following this. To your point about covering this today, it's really critical.
Yes.
For people to make their feelings, their thoughts, their concerns known. So that it's not just Rob Ward, Paul Malone is saying it, but that it's, Joe Jane taxpayer here in New York State to say.
A texter's writing, Senator, hey, Dominic, I have a friend that lives on Long Island, 2 doctors. Actually, they have no clue what's happening January 1, totally unaware of it. Nobody's talking about it in New York City. It's like no-win situation when you have people that have no clue about it. I think that, though, the fact is there's a consensus across the state of an unawareness of this reality.
Oh, 100%. And look, you're not going to. Now, I don't know how that, it's a big state. There's a lot of things that go on. I think there's a lot of things that come at people. And the reason I say all that is because I have talked about this for many, many months. I'm sure Paul Bologna has talked about it or been in discussions about this for many, many months. I've been on this station. I've been on other parts. Unfortunately, we live in a moment where I think in general, Dominic, energy conversations do not fire. Now you say come January 2026, you're not going to be able to build a house with has natural gas and be all electric. That might catch someone's attention. But when you say come January 2026 in December of 2023 or 2022, it doesn't, because people go, oh, that's years away.
Yeah.
I just think energy is one of those issues that until it's hitting people in their pocketbook, until their rates are going up.
Well, it's already happening.
On the doorstep, and it is happening.
Yeah.
That's why people are paying attention now.
All right.
Unfortunately, we've been talking about this for months, if not years, and we'll continue to do so. But this is not a new thing. It might be new on the consciousness here in New York, but it is not a new thing by any stretch of the imagination.
So the only thing we can do as the public is to attend these public hearings or write written submissions, and the address to write in your opinion, State Energy Plan Comments, NYSERDA, NYSERDA, 17 Columbia Circle, Albany, New York, 14203. I'm sorry, 12203. 12203, Albany, New York. So I'll give that address out again. Our last ditch effort to have our voice heard, I guess, is this draft plan. And, January 1 is just around the corner. What's the governor's temperature on this, Senator?
So I think she's the one you're trying to reach. right?
Yeah.
Obviously, you can always reach out to your local state senators, your state assembly members, here in Western
Yeah.
New York. But the reality is you're trying to reach the governor. She has the ability through her executive power, through the agencies, to slow these things down, to pause them. Give a real quick example. Down in New York City, congestion pricing, big issue. She paused that, unilaterally paused the implementation for over, I think, 6-7 months of a pause.
All right, Senator, we've got to go to the bottom of the hour news break. I'm a little late, but we'll be back with more right after the news.
Good morning. It's 10:30 from the WBEN Paul Davis Restoration Newsroom. I'm Chris Giacobello. Here's what's happening. New York State Department of Environmental Conservation Commissioner Amanda Lefton and the Buffalo Sewer Authority announced yesterday an agreement to improve the water quality along the Niagara River and its tributaries.
I mean,
The agreement is set to benefit the region's environmental well-being by addressing long-standing water quality violations while implementing a long-term modernization plan
But I want
and
to wrap
upgrading
this up.
water infrastructure to help reduce the amount of sewage entering the Niagara River watersheds. The 125th anniversary celebration of the Cotter will be held today at Riverfest Park on Ohio Street from 1 o'clock until 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
Tickets for Cotterfest can be purchased on site at
See
Riverfest
that-
Park, as admissions is $30 and children under 12 are free. WBEN News Time is 10:31. The Just Call Jet First Alert forecast today. We're looking at mostly sunny skies with a high of 73. And tonight, we're looking at partly cloudy with getting down to a low of 55. Tomorrow, we got some early sunshine giving ways to clouds and some showers later on with a high of 82. And on Monday, we got some clouds with a few thunderstorms around in the area, getting to a high of 76. Right now, it's 64 degrees and sunny clear skies outside our Amherst studio. I'm Chris Giacobello. The WBEN Paul Davis Restoration Newsroom is the news feed that never stops. Stay in the know and follow our updated X feed for the latest by following at WBEN.
Broadcasting on News Radio 930 WBEN since 1989, this is Hammer Time Radio. Brought to you by Lakeshore Bank, putting people first since 1891.
Well, the calendar is indicating that fall, yep, it's here, and your heat will be needed within a couple of weeks for that first cold night. Do you remember the smell that burns off your heat exchanger? What's on that heat exchanger? Well, it's a collection of things: dust, dead skin cells, bacteria, mold, dust mite feces. That stuff, folks, is also inside your ductwork. It burns off the heat exchanger, but it lingers deep down in your ductwork system. The unhealthy contamination is important to consider in your breathing fresh and clean air in your homes. A recent 5-star Google review, hot off the presses, from a Hammer Time listener: Indoor Air Professionals has been around since 1993 for good reason. They are simply the best in the region. While other companies offer duct cleaning along with their other services for indoor air professionals, that is their service. The team arrives on time, had clear communication, immediately got to work, and were effective in cleaning the ductwork. Not only were their ducts clean and sanitized, the basement was even cleaner. They cleaned up after themselves, and then some. I couldn't be happier, and my family breathes easier, literally and figuratively, knowing that years of dust and debris are no longer lingering in my ductwork. And Peter Gordon joins us on the live line. What a great testimony, Mr. Gordon.
Yeah, it's the guys like Evan that says it all. About 90% of our listeners let us know the results they get, how much healthier they are, and some have even stopped taking allergy medication or using their inhalers for asthma and even more. But besides the most thorough duct cleaning on the planet, we have amazing medical grade air purifiers that are 40 times more efficient than HEPA filtered units.
Absolutely. It's so true. In our home, of course, being that it's a hot water baseboard system, the medical grade air purifier purifies the air in our bedroom. And Diane loves that. And she loves the fact that it provides a little white noise as well. Now, Peter, as we wind our way through September, we're looking for, those extra special fall discounts. What are they going to be?
Okay, well, as I said, this is all about supply and demand here. We're scheduling out to about mid-October, but we do have a priority move-up list if you have respiratory issues. But you can still save $125 off your duct cleaning
Not sure this will be here next week. $400 off the April Air High Capacity Dehumidifier, and $400 off the portable medical grade air purifier. And one more time, $400 off the Healthway Super V whole house unit that connects right to your furnace, purifies your whole house down to 0.007 microns, if that help means anything to you.
Absolutely. And don't delay. You can get scheduled by mid-October, but you need to do that now by calling Peter at 716-683-3000, extension 303. That's 716-683-3000, extension 303. Call now. Got IAP? Get it today. He dropped.
What?
He dropped. Oh, pickle. I don't like when elected officials think that.
Dominic Ortiz here. Fall's around the corner and the perfect time to get your home ready for winter. USA Insulation's premium foam seals every gap, keeping warm air in and the Buffalo chill out. Keep your home cozy and your heating bills stay lower. New York homeowners may qualify for up to 80% off installation costs with state and federal incentives. USA Insulation even offers spray foam for homes and businesses. Call 716-431-4500 or
I would imagine
USAinsulation.com.
all being on the right side of the equation.
And tell them Dominic sent you.
More frustrating.
It is.
Hi, it's Dominic Ortiz. Whenever someone asks me, who do you call for roof repair or replacement? I say call Ava Roofing and Siding. They install over 1.5 million square feet of shingles and siding annually across Western New York. When you call Ava, you get superior service, including expert foreman on every job. Get an on-the-spot free written estimate and project drawing for your roof replacement or repair by calling 343-ROOF or go to avaroofing.com. Ava also offers 0% financing. When quality
Well, this
matters,
helps
call
build your
Ava Roofing.
credibility, though.
I think
To bring the gym to your home,
even
G&G
though you
Fitness
know what
Equipment
how
has
you're talking about,
everything
so
you
it
need to
definitely
build
helps.
the ultimate
Yeah,
home workout
Yeah,
space.
well,
With
thank you. I
premium
appreciate
treadmills and bikes to top quality strength equipment and saunas, G&G
I'm just
offers
curious
top
as where
brands
this
like
is gonna
Inspire,
go.
Life Fitness,
Probably
Matrix,
nowhere.
Rock Fitness, and more. Plus, enjoy financing options with 0 down and 0% interest.
I've been giving
Visit
out the
us
governor's
at
phone number.
Blansville and
You
Orchard
should.
Park
Yeah.
or online at ggfitness.com. Let
This
us
is
help you build
that's
your
the most
race.
frustrating part, you know?
This is Dominic Ortiz. Fall is on its way, and winter's not far
And
behind.
most
Make
of
sure
the
your
people
home
who
stays
live in New York City
comfortable all
are
season long
renters.
with a $99
Yeah.
health and
It's
safety
like
checkup
they're-
from TRS Heating and Air Conditioning.
It
Need an
doesn't
upgrade?
impact them as
Well,
much
TRS
because
can
they're not
recommend
the
a
ones
high-efficiency roof
installing
system
the,
to
you
keep
know,
you cozy and warm with
220 for their
flexible
car
financing to
charger.
fit
Like,
your
you know what I mean?
budget.
It's
Nothing beats rain. Visit TRS Heating and Air Conditioning.com for details. TRS Heating, Air Conditioning, and Electrical Excellence. Powering tomorrow, comforting today.
your house and my house. We can handle if we had to put in a 220 line in the garage, like our circuit breaker box, we can handle it. These people are selling nothing to do.
WBE
Amen.
at 9:30 a.m. as Buffalo as Beef on Weck.
10:38 is Hammer Time. Good morning. Dominic Ortiz with you. Paul Bologna, just enough time to thank you for spending the first half hour with us. I know you got to run to another event. But why don't you give out your Facebook information so people could perhaps link onto that to learn more about how they can get their voice heard. And I'm going to give this address out again, too.
Yeah, so my Facebook page, it's open to the public. It's Paul Bologna. It's spelled just like bologna, BOLOGNA, NYS Assembly. And I actually have links on my Facebook page directly, so you can, reach right out to NYSERDA online and submit written testimony. And I cannot tell you how important that is that you make your voice heard. And Dominic, in all seriousness, thank you for bringing this issue to light, because people need to know. So I appreciate you using your platform to do so.
Well, thanks for saying that. And I also want to thank Senator Ort, who had to also go to another event. The address again, if you want to write a letter, it's the State Energy Plan Comments, NYSERDA, NYSERDA, 17 Columbia Circle, Albany, New York, 12203, Albany, New York, 12203. And I'm also going to give you Kathy Hochul's phone number. You ready for that? 518-474-8390. 518-474-8390. Give her a call. Tell her Dominic says hello. And thanks for calling me back when I call you, Kathy. But anyway, the governor needs to know how you feel. And of course, NYSERDA taking your public comments. And again, Paul, thank you. good luck at your next event, which is what you want to plug what you're doing now.
Yeah, actually, if anyone is out in the Akron, Newstead, Clarence area, or maybe Southern Lockport, I'm having a car seat safety check. I teamed up with Sheriff Garcia and the Erie County Sheriffs. They're having their installation experts come out to the Newstead Public Library. It's free. You do not need an appointment. It's from 10 to 2. It's a car seat safety check. So the sheriffs will be there to make sure that your car seats are installed correctly.
That's great. They have become so difficult to install.
Tell me about it. I got 2 of them in my car. I'm gonna actually have mine checked out. I know you have grandkids, so I know that it's something you're.
God forbid we have to take one out, because then Nick or Phil have to put it back in, because I can't figure out how to do it.
It's a process.
Yeah,
it's a process.
Well, good luck with that, and keep us in tune as to what you hear about from Albany.
Absolutely, thank you.
Okay, Paul. 8030930. As we switch gears here, we say good morning to a good friend, Kurt Treiner from Budget Blinds. Hey, Kurt.
Hey, good morning, Dominic.
Thanks for calling in.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Well, yeah, I got to start by saying that Diane is so happy with the work you did at our house. She was very particular at what she was looking for, as you know, and you found the right fabric and the right installation. Great new curtain rod as well. She couldn't be happier with what you did for us there, Kurt.
Oh, that's great to hear. Yeah, it was a real pleasure working with her. I really enjoyed it.
When you hear the name Budget Blinds, you think low cost and you think blinds. That's kind of an oxymoron to what you really are, because what you did for us was a full custom drapery installation.
Yeah, that's right. And the name, we really try to kind of educate people on what we provide is really a solution for every budget. So, we have a number of vendors that we work with, and that enables us to really kind of find what would be appropriate for each customer based on their goals and the amount of money they'd like to spend, and really kind of allows us to work within that budget, but exceed their expectations.
I guess that's a good way of looking at the word budget, is to fit your budget. And again, you could go, kind of low budget or full scale upscale with what you can get from Budget Blinds. Let's talk for a minute about all the services that you do provide.
Yeah, so we sell custom window treatments, and that includes something as simple as an aluminum blind for an office building to all different types of shades, roller shades, honeycomb shades, woven woods. We do shutters, which interior shutters, which a lot of people who have spent time in Florida or other parts of the country are probably very familiar with. We do custom draperies like we did for yourself and Diane, as well as top treatments, which include cornices, balances, both wood cornices, fabric cornices. So really anything you can imagine for the interior of your home, for the windows, and as well as commercial applications. So we do a lot of work in different commercial settings, medical offices, restaurants, office buildings. So we really kind of try to specialize in anything you can put on your window to help either make it more beautiful or just maintain energy efficiency, protect your furniture from fading, things like that.
Now, in that Budget Blinds is a national company, and you're the Buffalo franchise. It gives you access, does it not, Kurt, to an enormous network of buying ability.
Yeah, you're right. So we're somewhat unique in that we're locally owned and operated. So it's my wife and I who own the business, and we have 10 employees, several of which are family members. So it's very much a family-run and owned and operated operation. And but Budget Blinds is actually a national franchisor that has locations all throughout the United States as well as Canada, and they've become the largest retailer of custom window treatments in the country.
Wow!
So they've been in business over now it's 35 years, and they've been able to negotiate really good pricing and warranties and service level agreements with all the manufacturers we work with. So they, use their purchasing power to allow us to really offer a better price than we otherwise would be able to.
We're so impressed that you yourself came to do the installation at our house, Kurt.
Well, I wanted to make sure it went well. I when I started, a little over 10 years ago, I did everything by myself, from answering the phone to the design consultation to the installation. So I'm very familiar with every aspect of it, and still very hands-on, and like to kind of make sure things go really well.
Now, tell our listeners, Kurt, how they would go about beginning the process of getting an estimate from you.
So there's a couple options. We have a showroom right on the corner of Orleans Transit in Williamsville. So we're right next to the Dave Smith Ford dealership, and people are welcome to stop in there and take a look at our displays and see all the different products that we do sell, and just get information, so that that's a good place to start.
Mm-hmm.
But majority of the time, we actually have 4 full-time design consultants that will come to your home, and they have vans that are fully stocked with all our sample books, and they'll come meet with you, talk about your needs and kind of make some recommendations, show you the different samples, color options, fabrics, and then they'll take measurements of the windows, kind of tell you whether or not we can mount it on the inside or the outside or whatever the case may be for your particular situation. And then they'll put together, an estimate. Normally we do it right there in the home, if we have the time to do so. And there's no charge for any of that. So, we come out, we, help pick everything out, put together the quote.
And the other thing that needs to be said, Kurt, very important that our listeners know that there's no pressure to any of your sales.
No, and I'm not that's probably my personality. I'm not a high pressure person. I want people to make kind of the decisions that are best for them.
That's right.
So I really would make recommendations, and the people that work for me will make recommendations that they would make to their family members. And if it's a good fit and the customer, wants to move forward, that's great. But if it's, not something they're ready for at that time, we completely understand and really don't want to pressure anybody into anything.
That's right. And, the reason I brought that up is because, when you think that Budget Blinds is part of a franchise, that, that there might be prerequisites, that the franchisor puts on the franchisee to, have quotas and, levels of purchase. Well, the personality, as you mentioned, that you have and your staff has is quite opposite of that, which is really speaks volumes to the genuineness of what you're trying to do, which is get the customer what they're looking for.
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I think customers appreciate that, and really, responded accordingly.
That's great. So let's start by giving the phone number.
Sure. So our number is 716-970-4444.
Okay, easy to remember. And the address on Worley.
It's 8050 Worley Drive, and the zip code is 14221. So, like I mentioned, we're right by the corner of Transit Worley.
Yeah.
We're on the the Clarence side of Transit.
Yeah, you're in that gray area. You're actually in the town of Clarence, but you have a Williamsville mailing address.
Yes, and we pay Clarence taxes, so that we have the best of both worlds.
There you go. Okay, Kurt, thanks for spending the time with us. Kurt, the owner of Budget Blinds, the Buffalo franchise, great service, great people. You'll be happy with the quality. Thanks for calling in, Kurt.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Well, it's my pleasure.
Great day.
You too. 803-0930 is the number to call this Saturday morning as we wind our way to the top of the hour. Open phone lines then for the rest of the show. Anything around the house that needs my attention. If you want to talk about electrification, that's fine. If you want to talk about anything that you need my help with, this is the time for you to jump on the phone or text us. Same as our call-in number, 803-0930. Our next break is right now, but don't go away. We're back with more in our first hour right after this.
Hi, Dominic Ortiz here for Lenco Supplies. If you're building a backyard deck, pergola, or even a pole barn, trust Camo Fasteners for the job. From structural fasteners to stainless steel and coated deck screws, Camo gives you long-lasting quality. Their drive system makes installation fast and easy. You can stand while you're fastening with precision. Lenco has everything you need. Shop online or visit one of their 3 convenient locations. And don't forget, local delivery is free on orders over $500. Hammer Time listeners, it's time to gorilla your basement. Right now, get 10% off our beautiful resinous basement floor, 20% off custom cabinet and storage solutions, and a whopping 30% off truss core panels to get your basement holiday ready. Why is the Gorilla Floor the best in West New York? We're the only ones bold enough to guarantee protection against the #1 cause of floor failure, moisture. Every Gorilla Floor comes with a built-in vapor barrier at no extra cost. No shortcuts, no peeling, no failures, just Gorilla Strong protection. Visit GorillaGarageGear.com. Attention contractors, this is Dominic Ortiz here to remind you that Herb Company is your trusted source for top quality contractor installed products. From tankless hot water heaters to energy efficient boilers and radiant heating systems, Herb has what you need to stay ahead of the curve. With building code changes coming next year, costs are likely to rise. So now is the time to lock in savings. Visit herbcompany.com or call one of our knowledgeable sales associates at 825-1400 today. Plan ahead and save with Herb Company, your partner in excellence. This is Dominic Ortiz. Fall is on its way and winter's not far behind. Make sure your home stays comfortable all season long with a $99 health and safety checkup from TRS Heating and Air Conditioning. Need an upgrade? Well, TRS can recommend a high-efficiency Rheem system to keep you cozy and warm with flexible financing to fit your budget. Nothing beats Rheem. Visit TRSHeatingandAirConditioning.com for details. TRS Heating, Air Conditioning, and Electrical Excellence. Powering tomorrow, comforting today.
Hi, it's Susan Rose. When I needed my kitchen remodel, I trusted Kitchen and Bath Unlimited, and I couldn't be happier. That's why I'm excited to share this. Right now, Decora Cabinets is doing something they've never done before. They've dropped their price by 25% to Kitchen and Bath Unlimited, and now they're passing that savings directly onto you. While the cost of most home improvements keeps going up, you can remodel your kitchen or bath with high-quality Decora cabinets at a huge discount. Kitchen and Bath Unlimited. Shop in person at Kitchen and Bath Unlimited today.
Live, local, Buffalo, all day long. News Radio 930 WBEN.
10:53 is Hammer Time. Hey, Dominic with you till noon, 803-0930. That's the number to call or text anything around the house as we take you till noontime. Linda Pellegrino and Senior Radio follows this program. Thanks for being part of our Hammer Time radio audience. You can also experience Hammer Time on YouTube with our Hammer Time TV channel. Check it out by going to YouTube, Hammer Time TV with Dominic Ortiz. We are broadcasting the program right there, right now as well. Check it out at YouTube. Also, want to remind you, this program is rebroadcast at 6 p.m. on WBEN. So if you know anybody who would like to have heard Paul Bologna or Senator Ort, well, they can do so at 6 p.m. The governor's phone number is 518-474-8390. 518-474-8390. Give her a call and tell her how you feel about electrification. Also, the address for written comments to New York State Energy Plan. New York State Plan comments go to NYSERDA, NYSERDA, 17 Columbia Circle, Albany, New York, 12203. NYSERDA, 17 Columbia Circle, Albany, New York, 12203. There is a public hearing at the end of the month. We'll remind you of that again. That's a virtual meeting on the 30th of September. So in the meantime, though, writing in would be the next available connection from this area of the state. There's other public hearings that are in Albany and New York City, and then the virtual statewide at the end of the month. Also, you should know that energy tax credits are expiring for a lot of things around the house that benefited from the discount the government was giving you. President Trump has has orchestrated the removal of these tax credits. So be aware of that. The expiring tax credits include heat pumps, air conditioners, and heaters. Credit up to 2,000 rather. The deadline for installations by December 31st. A heat pump water heater credit was up to 2,000. Deadline for the installation again December 31st. Weatherization, insulation, anything to do with insulation, the credit up to 1,200. Again, December 31st on that. Replacing your electrical panel, the credit up to 600. Also deadlines December 31st. Home energy audits, credit up to $150. Deadline December 31st. Rooftop solar installations, up to 30% off of qualifying cost. That deadline also December 31st. Battery storage installation credit up to 30%, also December 31st. Geothermal heating installation credit up to 30%, deadlines December 31st. And EV chargers credit up to 1,000. That deadline is June of 26. So those are the tax credits expiring. Also, you should know that National Fuel is doing away with their incentives as well. So this was just issued. National Fuel committed to encouraging the installation of energy efficient equipment and serving our customers safely, affordably, and reliably as a core tenet of the company's long-term plan, improving energy efficiency and efforts related to discovering, piloting, and promoting new technologies to benefit Western New York's energy future. National Fuel's rebate program encourages customers to consider energy efficient gas-fired equipment when evaluating the replacement options. On May 15th of 25, New York State Public Service Commission issued the order authorizing non-low to moderate income energy efficiency building electrification portfolios for 26 to 30. This order directs utilities and program administrators to align incentive programs with the state's climate and decarbonization goals. This intent is to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by accelerating the transition to electric-based space heating, domestic water heater production, cooking technologies. Here it is, folks. As of January 1, 26, incentives for new construction and direct incentives for gas-fired appliances will no longer be available for equipment installations or replacement. This is a significant shift towards promoting electrification readiness and whole home electrification as a means of promoting energy efficiency and on-site emission reductions. And if you'd like more information, you can go online to New York State Department of Public Service Document and Matter Management System under case number 25M-0248. So it seems to me that we're seeing these things out of both sides of our mouth here. We're on the federal side losing the tax credits for largely electrification. And on the gas side, we're losing the incentives for gas appliances because of the electrification. So it's a lose-lose proposition because of what electrification is doing to us. I can't help but stress enough, people, that you need to have your voice be heard here, and you need to go to one of these public hearings, or you need to write in. Again, I'll give you the address real quick. NYSERDA, 17 Columbia Circle, Albany, New York, 12203. This is our last-ditch effort to save our state from this calamity. And I don't want to underestimate the importance of using the word calamity, because that's what's going to happen when people die living in a home that's 100% electric with no backup, no gas generator. So God forbid that happens. And our prayers are that somebody comes to their senses in Albany. Maybe the governor. Come on, Kathy, do something good for us. 8030930. It's the 11 o'clock news. We're back after that with open phone lines. See you then.
WBEN Buffalo, WKSU HD3 Niagara Falls.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
More anger at ICE. I'm Paul Stevens, Fox News. Anti-ICE protests flaring again overnight outside the Chicago area Broadview facility. Fox's Madeline Rivera.
Several people were arrested after clashing with federal agents outside of an ICE facility in Broadview, Illinois. Videos show protesters trying to block the center's gate, leading agents to fire tear gas. DHS accused the protesters of assaulting law enforcement, slashing car tires, and blocking the facility's entrance. Protesters, meantime, say the agents are the ones ramping up tensions. The Broadview facility has become a flashpoint as the region sees a crackdown in immigration enforcement. The Democratic mayor of Evanston, Illinois, was among those in the crowd, and he says they will not be deterred. This comes as DHS says ICE agents are facing a 1,000% increase in assaults against them.
ICE stepping up deportation efforts recently with operations in cities including Los Angeles and Washington, D.C. The memorial for conservative activist Charlie Kirk said to be held tomorrow in Glendale, Arizona. Fox's Matt Finn is there.
We expect tens of thousands of people to begin making their way onto the property here. Of course, they're going to be greeted by intense federal and local security sweeping the place, not only for the president, but a long list of VIPs. And ahead of the ceremony tomorrow morning, the Secret Service says a suspicious man with a gun and a knife was taken into custody Friday after he was found inside State Farm Stadium, according to the Washington Post. The Secret Service says the unidentified man was exhibiting suspicious behavior inside the stadium when agents approached him. The report says the man claimed to be law enforcement but showed fake credentials. He's in custody, and we're going to keep you updated on this report. And tomorrow's memorial for Charlie Kirk has been designated a Tier 1 level event, equivalent to a Super Bowl.
A source says the person who's in custody is a former deputy sheriff out of Idaho. America's listening to Fox News.
Good morning. It's 11:02 from the WBEN Paul Davis Restoration Newsroom. I'm Chris Giacobello. Top stories today: a 125-year anniversary, and a Buffalo man faces 40 years.
The WBEN First Alert forecast calls for a beautiful day today with mostly sunny skies, a high of 73.
Here's what's happening. New York State Department of Environmental Conservation Commissioner Amanda Lefton and the Buffalo Sewer Authority announced yesterday an agreement to improve the water quality along the Niagara River and its tributaries. The agreement is said to benefit the region's environmental well-being by addressing longstanding water quality violations while implementing a long-term modernization plan and upgrading water infrastructure to help reduce the amount of sewage entering the Niagara River watersheds. Buffalo Sewer Authority failed to implement required sewer system improvements with water quality-based requirements and upgrades under a long-term control plan and faced state violations for noncompliance prior to the agreement. After pleading guilty yesterday to killing 2 women, a man from Buffalo faces 40 years to life in prison. 62-year-old Richard Fox pleaded guilty to 2 counts of murder in the second degree as the 2 victims' remains were found near a hiking trail in Chautauqua County a few years ago. Fox will be sentenced on Thursday, November 20th, as he remains in custody without bail. The 125th anniversary celebration of the Cotter will be held today at Riverfest Park on Ohio Street from 1 o'clock until 6 o'clock. Captain Michael Kick of the fireboat Edward M. Cotter detailed what participants can expect at the event today.
We've got 3 live bands, we've got food, we've got beverages, we've got stuff for the kids to do. The fireboat's going to be doing a drive-by, doing a water display around 2:15.
Kick added on to explain how the public has played a part to keep the Cotter afloat after all these years.
The public's help in raising money to keep the boat afloat is just so important because everything's getting older and older. It's harder to get parts, and those parts, if we do find them, are much more expensive.
Tickets for Cotterfest can be purchased on site at the Riverfest Park. WBEN news time is 11:04. The Just Call Jet First Alert forecast is coming up.
Miss a show, segment, or interview? Download the Odyssey app. That's AUDACY. Favorite WBEN and listen live to any of our content on demand, wherever you are.
Helping your inner circle prepare for emergencies can start in many ways. Put together an emergency kit with Whitepool. Create a family communication plan with your tita. Remind Bai to keep a backup battery charged. It all starts with a simple step, telling those you care about to be ready for the worst. So start a conversation and plan for emergencies together. Get more tips at ready.gov/start. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Stay tuned right after Hammer Time for Senior Radio Buffalo, hosted by Linda Pellegrino.
Senior Radio is dedicated to informing and educating baby boomers and active seniors all over Western New York. Coming up at noon.
The WBEN First Alert forecast calls for a beautiful day today with mostly sunny skies. We'll see a high of 73 degrees. Then tonight, partly cloudy with a low down to 55. And for the day tomorrow, some sunshine giving way to more clouds with a late day shower or thunderstorm around. We'll see a high of 82.
Okay, our second hour is about to begin, so thanks for hanging in there with us. We'll be right back.
With the WBEN First Alert forecast, I'm meteorologist Brandon Buckingham.
Currently 66 degrees, clear and sunny skies outside our Amherst studio. I'm Chris Giacobello. The WBEN Paul Davis Restoration Newsroom is the news feed that never stops. Stay in the know and follow our updated X feed for the latest by following at WBEN.
Here we go.
Leaking roof? Need new windows? Looking to remodel your kitchen or bath? You've come to the right place and the right time. Broadcasting on News Radio 930 WBEN since 1989, this is Hammer Time Radio. Brought to you by Lakeshore Bank, putting people first since 1891. Now, your host, your man for home improvements, Dominic Cortez.
And we're back. Good morning from Dominic Cortez. Participate in the program. Anything I can help you with around the house by giving us a phone call at 716-803-0930 outside the 716. Toll free 1-800-616-WBEN. Then there's the text board, Volkswagen of Orchard Park text board, where you can write your question there. Same as our call-in number, 803-0930. A texter's writing, Dominic, can you repeat the upcoming Come Home to Cortez cooking classes? Gladly. The next class is Monday, the 22nd, Sunday at Nana's house. October the 6th, Italian-American Classics. October the 20th, Classic Sauces. Starting on Monday, Sunday at Nana's, pasta pomodoro, chicken cutlets, sauteed beans and greens. And the following class, the 6th of October, Italian-American Classics, chicken parmesan, eggplant parmesan, fettuccine alfredo. And the classic sauces, October 20th, learn how to make bolognese, puttanesca, and aglio olio. These are the upcoming classes at our Come Home to Cortez cooking school. Our wonderful chef, Jerry Clemente. And if you'd like to register, just go to Cortez.net. You'll see everything we do at Cortez Construction. And at our top of our webpage, you'll see the Come Home to Cortez Cooking School. Click there and sign up. And next to that is the TMP of Buffalo click-through as well, the Techno Metal Post click-through for learning about that service that we provide as well. Corkscrews to replace concrete. Isn't that revolutionary? It's all at Cortez.net. So we spent the first hour doing a couple things. We spoke with Paul Bologna, Senator Robert Ort, and we focused on the draft plan where you can voice your opposition to electrification by writing to NYSERDA. The address again, NYSERDA, 17 Columbia Circle, Albany, New York, 12202. 12203. And I gave the governor's phone number out, and I'll give that out again now, 518-474-8390, 474-8390 in the 518 area code. But I thought, maybe we'd spend a little bit on this hour talking about the fact that New York State home builders are pretty much in a panic over what's going to happen to the cost of building a house when everything has to be electric. We've mentioned this before, that 400 amp services are more than twice as much. 2 heat pumps for a house bigger than 2,500 square feet will be needed, more than twice the cost there. The idea of not having a backup, also a concern. But so I did a little research, and one of the ways that the builders can combat the skyrocketing cost of construction is with 3 ways that I found that are quite revolutionary. One of them we've seen before, but really known for helping trim the cost of constructing a home, and that is a factory-built house. Yeah, a factory-built assembly line of focus somewhat does, because of the controlled environment, help control the cost of building a house. So that's one. The second, get ready for this. You're not going to believe this one. 3D printed homes. Yes, there's technology to print 3D homes. Can you believe that? A computer-controlled robotic arm equipped with a hose and a nozzle moves back and forth, oozing a line of concrete, one on top of the other, as it builds up the walls of the home. It can go relatively quickly and form curved walls even. New technology for printed homes. Again, you're taking the human element out and therefore saving on any labor that would be associated with building a house. And the last one, also quite shocking, hemp. The plant used related to marijuana is being used more and more in the construction of walls. The hemp is mixed with other materials, most importantly, the mineral lime forming hempcrete, a natural insulation that's mold and fire resistant and can act as an outer wall insulation and inner wall insulation. Hempcrete still requires wall studs to frame the walls, but it replaces 3 wall building components with just one. So therefore, saving again on labor. Labor is the biggest cost component here. And when we're combating electrification, trimming costs elsewhere would be the replacement of that cost, and trimming labor out of the equation certainly would be the way to help reduce the cost of construction. So factory built, 3D printed, and hempcrete coming to a home near you. I wonder if any of our local New York State or Western New York builders are considering any of those. I guess the tooling up of such would be a deterrent. When you think about conventional construction, you get the lumber dropped off and you have the crew show up, and it's that kind of thing, where these all take a lot of planning and organization and factory kind of settings to produce them. But what are we going to do to keep the cost of construction under control when not only are we combating the material costs being higher, somewhat due to tariffs, somewhat due as well to the increased cost of labor? We saw our labor skyrocket post-COVID. It never really came down. All the other building materials that we deal with, have somewhat neutralized in cost, but labor has stayed high. So that's a big enemy. And then you've got now this electrification component layered on that to be another enemy to the cost. So anyway, alternatives to building and 3 creative ideas here: a factory, 3D printed, and hempcrete to replace conventional construction. What do you think of that? Or anything else that I can help you with this Saturday morning? You know the call-in number. It's 803-0930 in the 716. Outside Buffalo, it's 1-800-616-WBEN. And the Orchard Park, Volkswagen Orchard Park text board, same as our call-in number, 803-0930. We'll take our first break of this hour, and we'll be back with you right after this.
Wondering where to shop for home improvements? Well, you've come to the right place. Our sponsors have proudly earned the Hammer Time seal of approval by operating with honesty and integrity. So remember, to buy right the first time, buy from a Hammer Time partner.
What's something you need to live but rarely think about? The air you breathe. Dirty ducts can cause headaches, allergies, even illness. Dust, pet dander, mold, it's all in the air. Call Peter today, 716-683-3000, extension 303. Ask about the Hammer Time discount on duct cleaning, purifiers, and dehumidifiers. Breathe better, live better.
For every breath you take. Looking for the perfect window treatments? At Budget Blinds in Williamsville, we're locally owned and bring the showroom to you with a free in-home consultation. From shades and blinds to drapery, shutters, and Roman shades, we offer a wide range of options, working with top vendors like Hunter Douglas. Plus, with our 5-year no-questions-asked warranty, you can trust us for the long haul. Visit us at 8050 Worley Drive or call today. With over 500 5-star Google reviews, we pride ourselves on exceptional service. Budget Blinds in Williamsville. Quality, service, and value in every window.
Hi, it's Dominic Cortez. Whenever someone asks me, who do you call for roof repair or replacement, I say call Ava Roofing and Siding. They install over 1.5 million square feet of shingles and siding annually across Western New York. When you call Ava, you get superior service, including expert foreman on every job. Get an on-the-spot free written estimate and project drawing for your roof replacement or repair by calling 343-ROOF or go to avaroofing.com. Ava also offers 0% financing. When quality matters, call Ava Roofing. Hammer Time listeners, it's time to gorilla your basement. Right now, get 10% off our beautiful residence basement floor, 20% off custom cabinet and storage solutions, and a whopping 30% off truss core panels to get your basement holiday ready. Why is the Gorilla floor the best in West New York? We're the only ones bold enough to guarantee protection against the #1 cause of floor failure, moisture. Every Gorilla floor comes with a built-in vapor barrier at no extra cost. No shortcuts, no peeling, no failures, just Gorilla Strong protection. Visit GorillaGarageGear.com. This is Dominic Cortez. Fall is on its way, and winter's not far behind. Make sure your home stays comfortable all season long with a $99 health and safety checkup from TRS Heating and Air Conditioning. Need an upgrade? Well, TRS can recommend a high-efficiency breathe system to keep you cozy and warm with flexible financing to fit your budget. Nothing beats rain. Visit TRSHeatingandAirConditioning.com for details. TRS Heating, Air Conditioning, and Electrical Excellence. Powering tomorrow, comforting today.
Don't just think it, say it. Call or text WBEN now at 716-803-0930.
11:18 is Hammer Time. Good morning. You've got Dominic Cortez. You've got Hammer Time Radio. And you've got WBEN. Anything around the house this Saturday morning, open phone lines. Pick up the phone. Participate in the program. As I mentioned, we've been talking about electrification. We can switch that off. I'd very much like to. Although it's important that we, get you kind of fired up about it, because if we don't get fired up about it, people, it's going to happen and we're going to have to live with it. We're already having to live with the start of it, which is the increased cost of electricity. You know the whole story about what we dealt with at the Cortez household. The jury's still out. Haven't gotten the next electric bill yet since the second smart meter was installed. So I'll be sure to report to you on what happens with that. But it seems to me, after all the time and reflecting back on what we've been through with our meter situation, is that our old meter was probably underreporting. And that seems to be what I've heard from a lot of people, that their old meter was a little bit more favorable to them than it was the utility. So yeah, that seems to be a reality, and one that we're not going to get away from. And this increased cost of electricity is all tied right into electrification, because the money's got to come from somewhere, and it's got to come from you. A texter's writing, Dominic, have you and your listeners considered that those living in rural areas have no water to drink and no way to flush their toilets other than pouring water from a pond when the electric goes out? Electrification of New York State will create that problem many times per year. And that's from Steve from Springville. Thanks for sharing that, Steve. I think the rural areas are probably even a bigger concern than maybe even urban areas, partly, as you mentioned, because of the reliance on pumps for water, but also there's more of a dependence on propane in rural areas. Propane also becomes a dirty word from what we've learned. And in some cases, there isn't a grid structure, to really amplify the need for a new home in a setting where the power may not be readily available. So good point on that, Steve. I appreciate you commenting that. Yeah, pumps that, well pumps that have electric components to lift the water would be powered out in a power failure. Why am I talking so much about power failure? Well, hello, the power goes out a lot in a windstorm and a snowstorm and a high wind environment, and that is something we have to be very aware of here in Western New York because of the fact that we live on the lake. It's windier here than a lot of other parts of even the state, and you saw what happened with the blizzard. Let me don't have to remind you of the consequence of that. So yes, that's why I worry about power going out, because it does, where gas doesn't. And yet gas is the enemy. We had a discussion a few weeks ago about tree trimming, if you remember, where someone was calling and saying, can I trim branches that are hanging over my property? The answer is absolutely yes. And I did misspeak about the liability that you have on trimming those branches. While it makes sense for the safety of your home, you kind of purchase the liability of the health of that tree if you trim that tree. So be aware of that. And it brings up the whole discussion of trimming trees and the best way to go about doing that. And always safety is tantamount, right? Tree removal can be hazardous. And it seems like even small trees can cause damage if they fall the wrong way. So bringing in a professional would certainly be, I think, a thing to consider. But, I know cost is an issue in the case of getting rid of a tree. It can be expensive, but the professional is going to have all of the right equipment, the ropes, the rigging systems, the harnesses, the machinery. This is a kind of thing, folks, that I really do believe should be handled by a pro because of the safety component and the risk factor being so high if things go the wrong way, if a branch falls the wrong way. Keep in mind that the professionals are trained to assess the structure of the tree and to know how to read the way the branches are configured, and also be kind of tuned into the risk associated with what could fall the wrong way, including power lines, right? Property boundaries, hidden decay inside the trunk. These are all things that a pro will catch before you and I would. Removing a tree that might involve climbing, another big risk. You want to carry a chainsaw up a tree? Hello, not me. Lowering the limbs one time or another using a crane. They have all that equipment. So keep in mind, experience does matter. And when you hire anybody for anything, always ask about their insurance. You want to make sure they're properly insured, right? And I talk about that all the time. This is another one where proper insurance matters. Check for their credentials, check that they're insured to cut down trees. Also check to see whether any permits are required. Sometimes that's the case. I believe that's the case in Amherst. They do require tree cutting or tree removal permits. And the whole idea of the codes come into play here. A tree may be somewhat landmarked as well. Older trees, I know, are. So there's another cause for concern. And if we get a tree removed, what do we do with the stump? Do we leave it sit, let it decay, or do we do something about that by having it ground out? Cutting down the tree is only half the battle, right? The cleanup can be just as intense. So getting that stump ground. Do you know that they now have robotic stump grinders? Pretty cool. I saw a video of one, and a great way to see a stump be ground is to see a robot do it. Anyway, so those are the ideas there of promoting safety by having a pro cut down a tree. 803-0930, if you have a comment about that, as we go back to the text board. And Have you inquired how they may prove that an old meter was underreporting? That is a question of the century. No, I did ask, and it was just supposition that the old meter was underreporting, only because the new meter showed so much more cost, more utility consumption. So I would love to be able to get to the bottom of that. Great point, Texter. But no, I have no way of knowing how and why that would be. Let's go to West Seneca and say hello to Mike. Good morning, Mike. You're on WBEN.
Yeah, good morning, Dominic. A couple of weeks ago, you talked about having an energy audit on your house.
Yes.
You had they checked your meter. How did you get that, or where do I find out how to get that?
Yeah. So when we called initially, way back when we first started to see the spike in our electric consumption, we called New York State Electric and Gas, and they told me, well, you've got to check to see where you're wasting electricity. And we said, well, we don't think we are. And they said, well, that's step one. You got to get an energy audit. So one of our sponsors here is USA Insulation. So I called them up and I said, you got to help me prove NYSEG wrong. And they came out, they did an energy audit, and they said, nope, nothing being overly consumed, no real big energy drains occurring at the Cortez household. So that was checkbox number one. It wasn't energy loss from my house being under-insulated or poorly insulated. So then they didn't have anything to do with the meter. That's when I contacted NYSEG again and said, so the energy audit passed, there's nothing being lost with overconsumption there. Why did my consumption spike on my electric bill? And they said, well, it may be that your bill was under reporting. So that's where we are now. And again, I don't have the answers to this underreporting issue other than to take their word for that.
What do they charge you for the energy audit?
Sometimes they're free. Sometimes they're free. You can call them and ask for their price list. Yes.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Thanks for that call. Great question. Let's move along to the island of Grand. Hello, Paul. We're at your house. Hey, Paul, you there? Good morning, Paul. Okay. Okay, there you are.
Yeah. I was curious. Our gas pumps are calibrated by the state. In the supermarket, the scales are calibrated by the state. Why don't they, with the smart meters, at least do an initial calibration that it's reading correctly?
Well, that I was told that they are. Again, the CEO of NYSEG was here a few weeks ago. If you heard her, she said that the smart meters, all meters are calibrated by law. So you're right; it's all regulated. The truth is, and I mean, I guess I have nothing to argue this point over. Was indeed it true that my old meter, being it was 41 years old, underreporting? I don't know. I can only say that that's possible based on the fact that the new meter is reporting more consumption. So the old meter maybe wasn't reporting the same amount of consumption. And I have heard that dial meters would get stuck. I have heard that. So there's something to that. I just can't substantiate that that's exactly what happened in my case.
Okay, thanks for answering the question.
Okay, Paul, thanks for calling in. Paul's line now available, 803-0930. Texter's writing, hi, Dominic, looking to insulate my attic and looking for advice regarding blown-in spray foam, as I am concerned about maintaining proper insulation. So looking for the latest best brand material for window replacements. I have 11 second-story windows, if feasible, keeping with the look of the older home. So starting with the insulation, the first thing I would want to know is the depth of insulation you presently have and what that material is, because if it is fiberglass, that can be added. You can add to that fiberglass, and that would probably be what USA Insulation would have you do. Window replacement, there's a lot to talk about there. So what we'll do is we'll kind of cover that part of your question after the 11:30 news break, because that's coming up right here, right now. So after that, we'll get into talking about window replacement, and we'll talk to you about anything around the house. 803-0930. This is Hammer Time Radio on WBEN.
Don't just think it, say it. Call or text WBEN now at 716-803-0930.
That telling individual at Utah Valley University yesterday, the scene of the September 10th assassination of Charlie Kirk. The UVU Turning Point USA chapter president Caleb Chilcutt spoke.
Charlie said, if you believe in something, you need to have the courage to fight for those ideas, not run away from them or try to silence them.
If convicted of Kirk's killing, the 22-year-old suspect could face the death penalty. Militants shot pepper-ball guns and deployed tear gas in front of protesters outside an ice processing center in the Chicago area yesterday. These 4 protesters were arrested trying to stop the transport vans from moving ICE detainees. America is listening to Fox News.
From the WBEN Paul Davis Restoration Newsroom, I'm Chris Giacobello. Here's what's happening. The 125th anniversary celebration of the Cotter will be held today at Riverfest Park on Ohio Street from 1 o'clock until 6 o'clock. Captain Michael Kick of the fireboat Edward M. Cotter detailed what participants can expect at the event today.
We've got free live bands, we've got food, we've got beverages, we've got stuff for the kids to do. The fireboat's going to be doing a drive-by, doing a water display.
Kick added on to explain how the public has played a part to keep the Cotter afloat after all these years.
The public's help in raising money, keep the boat afloat is just so important because everything's getting older and older. It's harder to get parts, and those parts, if we do find them, are much more expensive.
Tickets for Cotterfest can be purchased on site at Riverfest Park. The WBEN Paul Davis Restoration Newsroom is the news feed that never stops. Stay in the know and follow our updated X feed for the latest by following at WBEN.
Broadcasting on News Radio 930 WBEN since 1989, this is Hammer Time Radio. Brought to you by Lakeshore Bank, putting people first since 1891.
Lakeshore Bank believes in community banking with exceptional customer service and local expertise. Lakeshore Bank is here to help you with all your financial needs, from home financing to small business banking. Lakeshore Bank gives you access to state-of-the-art online banking tools and the attention, flexibility, and responsiveness you deserve. Visit one of Lakeshore Bank's 10 Western New York branches. Call 716-366-4017 or visit mylsbank.com today.
Dominic Ortiz here. Fall's around the corner and the perfect time to get your home ready for winter. USA Insulation's premium foam seals every gap, keeping warm air in and the Buffalo chill out. Keep your home cozy and your heating bills stay lower. New York homeowners may qualify for up to 80% off installation costs with state and federal incentives. USA Insulation even offers spray foam for homes and businesses. Call 716-431-4500 or USAinsulation.com.
USA Insulation.
Hey, Tom, Dominic sent you. Hi, it's Dominic Ortiz. Whenever someone asks me, who do you call for roof repair or replacement, I say call Ava Roofing and Siding. They install over 1.5 million square feet of shingles and siding annually across Western New York. When you call Ava, you get superior service, including expert foreman on every job. Get an on-the-spot free written estimate and project drawing for your roof replacement or repair by calling 343-ROOF or go to avaroofing.com. Ava also offers 0% financing. When quality matters, call Ava Roofing. Hi, Dominic Ortiz here from Lyco Supplies. If you're building a backyard deck, pergola, or even a pole barn, trust Camo Fasteners for the job. From structural fasteners to stainless steel and coated deck screws, Camo gives you long-lasting quality. Their drive system makes installation fast and easy. You can stand while you're fastening with precision. Lyco has everything you need. Shop online or visit one of their 3 convenient locations. And don't forget, local delivery is free on orders over $500. Hi, this is Dominic Ortiz. My family-run business believes in supporting other family-run businesses like Buffalo Plumbing Showroom. With their long tradition of excellence, they offer top-quality plumbing and design solutions. From water-sense fixtures to luxurious steam rooms and the latest Kohler innovations, you can trust their expertise to deliver high-quality materials at great prices. Call one of their sales associates at 826-1400 and schedule a visit to the Kohler Registered Showroom located at 600 Bailey Avenue today. Hammer Time listeners, it's time to gorilla your basement. Right now, get 10% off our beautiful resinous basement floor, 20% off custom cabinet and storage solutions, and a whopping 30% off truss core panels to get your basement holiday ready. Why is the Gorilla Floor the best in West New York? We're the only ones bold enough to guarantee protection against the #1 cause of floor failure, moisture. Every Gorilla Floor comes with a built-in vapor barrier at no extra cost. No shortcuts, no peeling, no failures, just Gorilla Strong protection. Visit GorillaGarageGear.com.
Live, local, Buffalo, all day long. News Radio 930 WBEN.
$11:37 is Hammer Time. It's Dominic Ortiz. It's Hammer Time Radio on WBEN, taking your home improvement questions and turning them into answers at 803-0930. Anything around the house. We're going to get into the discussion about windows with that texture, but before we do that, we'll squeeze in a call. Carolyn from Cheektowaga, good morning. You're on WBEN.
Good morning, Dominic, and thank you for your good advice. Appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome.
The home is 60 years old, and front porch, cement leading to the front door in the house. It has a crack in its opening. It's about 15 inches long. What's on the market now? Help me to fill it. So what do I do?
Yeah, there's a lot of options that'll be somewhat easy for you to even do yourself. You could go to the big box store and buy crack fillers. A lot of them have epoxy in them. They set up quick, so be mindful that you don't want to put too much out at once because it does dry quickly. I actually had the need for a quick small tube of masonry adhesive at the house. One of the stones on a back porch came loose, and I went to Value and I bought some Quickcrete in a squeeze tube. I didn't need a lot. That's probably be the best advice I could give you. Just go into either Home Depot or Lowe's or Value and ask for a Quickcrete masonry crack filler. And that'll be something you can just cut the tip off and you can squeeze it into that crack. It'll hold up pretty well.
Okay, it's Quickcrete.
Quickcrete is a brand. Yep, right. Mm-hmm. Okay, dear. All right, Carolyn. You too. Thanks for calling. Sharon's line now available, 803-0930. So back to the windows. So the texture is writing about insulation. We talked about that. I suggested that they contact USA Insulation to assess whether added fiberglass would be a good answer to their scenario or perhaps spray foam. But if they have fiberglass already, then you're going to probably see that you just add more fiberglass to what they already have. Windows, that's a big kind of menu of choices. And it comes down to circumstances that involve really what you want to spend. You can go with an economy, low-cost window. It'll perform probably as well, but not look as rich and elegant as a higher-end window would. So I guess it comes down to visual choice over performance. Most windows are going to perform pretty much the same. The energy ratings of them are going to be pretty much the same. So what we want to look at are all the bells and whistles and options. Do we want if we don't want a white interior, well, then you're not going to be able to go with a conventional low budget replacement window. If you want a wood interior, if you want a stainable interior, then you're going to have to move away from a low budget replacement window. But if you're happy with just an all white look, white in, white out, and even with tilt features and easy to clean that way, yeah, a vinyl replacement window will do the trick. And again, it will perform pretty much as well as a higher end window. The big separation is the options I talked about, the grid options, the hardware options, the sustainability, all those things kind of factor in to why you'd want to move away from a low budget window. Hope that helps you. Dominic, radio frequency electric meters do not transmit false readings. I didn't say they did. I said that my old style legacy meter probably was underreporting, not my new. Although they did replace my second smart meter, my first smart meter, with another one. Again, I haven't gotten the electric bill yet, so we'll let you know what happens with that. Interesting, if New York State Electric and Gas says that meters are calibrated, when did they start that? And that they should be able to prove old meters reading improperly. Well, I asked that question. They said, oh, your old meter's long gone. We don't know where it is now, and there's no way for us to track it down. So, okay. Hi, Dominic. Could you please share the NYSERDA address again? Sure. NYSERDA, to write your comments about the draft plan. Here it is. NYSERDA, NYSERDA, 17 Columbia Circle, 17 Columbia Circle, Albany, New York, 12203. 17 Columbia Circle, Albany, New York, 12203. So used to saying 14. 12203 is the Albany, New York zip code. What you want to write is your distaste and displeasure for the advocation of 100% electrification by January 1 date that's being put forth to us. The idea here is that we should have an energy choice and not a mandate. By the way, I didn't give you this address. This is also an email address. So that's the actual snail mail address I gave you. Here is an email address, NYSE. Let me start over. NYS Energy Plan at nyserda.newyork.gov. So one more time. NYS Energy Plan at nyserda.ny.gov. NYS Energy Plan at nyserda.ny.gov. That's an email address, and the other address was a snail mail address. For your information, the technical and operations manual for the smart meters are readily accessible online. Might be difficult for the non-engineer to understand. Well, I certainly would think that would probably be true. And what we're going to learn from a technical manual, I don't know. But anyway, yeah. A texture's writing, haven't heard anything about propane. Everyone's talking about natural gas. What about propane? Well, propane and natural gas are in the same category. Natural gas and propane, both abolished in new construction as of January 1. When we talk about natural gas being abolished, this is just in new construction. Existing homes are exempt from any electrification mandates until 2030. That's the next date we need to worry about, 2030. In 2030, it's proposed that when you go to replace your furnace, you won't be able to buy a gas furnace. That's proposed. That's not official yet. But right now, that's how the proposal is written, that 2030 is the next date that we need to worry about. So you won't be able to buy a gas stove, you won't be able to buy a gas hot water tank, and you won't be able to buy a gas furnace. And certainly you won't be able to buy a generator. So this is when it'll start to affect all of us for replacing what we have presently, the date 2030. So yeah, again, we talk about letting these things happen right under our nose, and it's startling to report to you that that is really the truth, that everybody, maybe not you listening to me right now, but everybody who's not listening is unaware of this reality. The reason I know that is because the New York State Builders Association did a survey, and they found that a remarkable number of people, like 95 or 98% of New Yorkers, were unaware of the electrification mandate. So we let it happen. And again, our only chance to slow this down, alter the proposals, include a hybrid approach, would be for you to write and complain and make your voice known. Again, NYSERDA, 17 Columbia Circle, Albany, New York, 12203, or the email address nysenergyplan@nyserda.ny.gov. nysenergyplan@nyserda.ny.gov. Texter's writing, does that mean that we'd have to go out of state to buy a replacement furnace? And if we have the knowledge to install it ourselves? Well, again, part of the mandate that I've heard, get ready for this, because this is going to floor you. In 2030, you won't be able to buy a gas appliance. If you go out of state and you have one installed, I hope you're sitting down, because the proposal is that you won't be able to renew your homeowner's insurance if you replace with gas. That's the proposal. Now, call that ridiculous? Yeah, I do. Call that Big Brother? Call that a communist state? Yeah, I do. But that's the proposal, that the state's going to police, after 2030, the use of gas with homeowners insurance being non-renewable if you have gas replacements, where if you've had a breakdown and you replace with gas. So that's the proposal. Again, I'm not saying that's going to happen for sure, but that's what we've been told is what they're proposing to do post 2030. Dominic, will self-owned data centers, gas-fired power plants be exempt from this energy plan? From what I understand, all municipal structures, places of public assembly, factories, stadiums, all those kinds of things are exempt from the electrification mandate. So the new football stadium, football stadium does have gas-fired generation to supplement the electrification, the obvious electric use there with a gas-fired generator. Any school, any public building is exempt from 100% electrification. Can't they be held responsible for class action wrongful death lawsuits? Yeah, because if the power goes out and people die from freezing to death, I would think that that's probably what's going to happen. But hello, do we have to wait for that? That's the absurdity of it all. We're waiting for people to die to do something about this. No, I don't think we should do that. I think we need to scream loudly from the mountaintops, and that's what I want to encourage you to do. To Cheektowaga we go. Daryl, good morning. We're at your house.
Hey, how you doing, Dominic?
Good, Daryl.
Question: are any other states doing the same thing as the New York City's doing?
Great question. The answer is no. The answer is no. California fell on its face. They tried to do it. They were sued by the restaurant lobby. They got together and they sued the state and won. The New York State Builders Association used that lawsuit in New York State courts and was shot down. The electrification mandate was not reversed in New York State, even though the Builders Association tried to do that. So no other state that I know of is proposing.
Sounds like this is a great excuse to get out of this state.
You know, you hate to hear people say that because, you know, there's so many reasons that we should love our state and love where we live. And it seems that our government does want to kind of have a walk out the door here. And I don't understand why. Governor Hochul has proposed that we need to build more houses in New York State. Well, talk to the builders about that. Home builders are not going to be able to build houses when no one's willing to pay for them because of the cost being skyrocketed because of electrification. So there's the absurdity of it all. Anyway, great comment. Thanks, Daryl. All right, Daryl's line now available at 803-0930. A texter's writing, so these idiot politicians will be safe and sound in their large buildings. Yeah. Well, if they live in New York, that's pretty much the case anyway. In every public building, I think it's over 7 stories tall. They are exempt from this rule. But in 2030, that does change, though. So we have to be keeping our eye on that as well. 803-0930. Good morning from Dominic Ortiz. This is Hammer Time Radio on WBEN.
Lakeshore Bank believes in community banking with exceptional customer service and local expertise. Lakeshore Bank is here to help you with all your financial needs, from home financing to small business banking. Lakeshore Bank gives you access to state-of-the-art online banking tools and the attention, flexibility, and responsiveness you deserve. Visit one of Lakeshore Bank's 10 Western New York branches. Call 716-366-4070 or visit mylsbank.com today.
Dominic Ortiz here. Fall's around the corner and the perfect time to get your home ready for winter. USA Insulation's premium foam seals every gap, keeping warm air in and the Buffalo chill out. Keep your home cozy and your heating bills stay lower. New York homeowners may qualify for up to 80% off installation costs with state and federal incentives. USA Insulation even offers spray foam for homes and businesses. Call 716-431-4500 or USAinsulation.com.
USA Insulation.
Hey, Tom, Dominic sent you. This is Dominic Ortiz. Fall is on its way, and winter's not far behind. Make sure your home stays comfortable all season long with a $99 health and safety checkup from TRS Heating and Air Conditioning. Need an upgrade? Well, TRS can recommend a high-efficiency ring system to keep you cozy and warm with flexible financing to fit your budget. Nothing beats ring. Visit TRSHeatingandAirConditioning.com for details. TRS Heating, Air Conditioning, and Electrical Excellence. Powering tomorrow, comforting today. Hi, Dominic Ortiz here for Lyco Supplies. If you're building a backyard deck, pergola, or even a pole barn, trust Camo Fasteners for the job. From structural fasteners to stainless steel and coated deck screws, Camo gives you long-lasting quality. Their drive system makes installation fast and easy. You can stand while you're fastening with precision. Lyco has everything you need. Shop online or visit one of their 3 convenient locations. And don't forget, local delivery is free on orders over $500.
Hi, it's Susan Rose. I've been a customer of Kitchen and Bath Unlimited, and I can tell you firsthand, they deliver beautiful results. So if you've been thinking about remodeling your kitchen or bathroom, now is the time. Decora Cabinets has cut their prices by 25% to Kitchen and Bath Unlimited, and that savings is being passed on to you. That could mean thousands of dollars less for your kitchen remodel. This deep discount has never been offered before. Only at Union Road near Walden in Cheektowaga.
Imagine a dust-free environment in your home or workplace. Sounds too good to be true. Well, it is. But there's a catch. Indoor Air Professionals will tell you it's impossible because we shed 50 million skin cells daily. But their customers swear by the results. Indoor Air Professionals can improve dust, allergies, asthma, and even your heating and cooling system. They've even found lost money and jewelry. So call Peter at 683-3000 extension 303 for amazing deals.
For every breath you take.
Stay tuned right after Hammer Time for Senior Radio Buffalo, hosted by Linda Pellegrino. Senior Radio is dedicated to informing and educating baby boomers and active seniors all over Western New York. Coming up at noon.
11:54 is Hammer Time. A couple of minutes left here for you to participate in the program. 803-0930. Before we go back to the calls, a texter's writing, "Hi, Dominic. In 2030, my house will identify as a public stadium." That's great. Let's go to Buffalo and say hi to Ron. Good morning, Ron. You're next.
Good morning, Dominic. I live on the east side, and we've got thousands of vacant lots available.
Mm-hmm.
there's been a bunch of new projects now going up in the Broadway Fillmore area. Flavor Street, privately, that large developer, and then a couple of other smaller projects. So, what about all these existing streets that have gas service?
Great question. Doesn't matter. Does not matter, which is absurd. So, yes. In fact, the builders were proposing that if they develop a new street, and, like say a new street's being planned right now, and it's actually, been paved and the utilities have been brought down it, including gas, that while this street is being built out, obviously going to cross into 2026 pretty quickly here, the houses that are started in 25 or permitted up to the end of this year can be gas. So on the same street, you're going to see gas houses and electric houses, and the gas line's in front of the electric house, but they can't tap into it. That is the absurdity of this. And they're trying to what they're calling it the grandfather clause, get those homes that are on that same street all be allowed to tap in. But so far that has not happened. So that same thing pertains to what you just said. That if a house is built on a street that has gas, they can't tap into it after January 1.
Wow. Okay. Thank you for answering that.
Yeah. Thanks for that call. Let's move on to Lockport now and chat with Jim. Good morning, Jim. You're next.
Thank you. I wanted to ask you about staining a wood fence I've had up for like 3 years now and never got around to staining it.
Okay.
Do I need to power wash it first? Does it have to be like hot water, cold water? Do I need to use soap?
Yeah. So great question. I do think if you have a high degree of grime on it, you're going to want to get that cleaned off so that you can get a brighter wood to start with, which will be especially important if you're going to go with a clear sealer as opposed to something with color. Yeah, okay. In either case, getting the grime off is going to help get better adherence. So that's what we want is saturation, and getting the grime off will help get that better saturation. So my cleaning solution, which would be, you could use the quart of bleach, 2/3 of a cup of a biodegradable soap, and 3 quarts of warm water. Mix that together. You can scrub the fence down. And if you have a power washer, you can use that, but don't use it on high force. Here's another key component to this, though. You want to make sure that the wood is dry before you attempt to seal it. If you trap moisture in the wood, that sealer is not going to saturate in, which you really want. What kind of wood is it?
Pre-treated wood.
Is it pressure treated?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was pressure treated.
Yeah. So if it's pressure treated, started out as a green wood, it's probably gotten a little gray right now. Yeah. So power wash it, and then use a sealer after, a stain and sealer after it's been allowed to dry out.
Okay, sounds great.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Good luck with that, Jim. Yeah, that's important that it be dry because you want to get adherence and saturation. A texter's writing, do you think a homeowner will try to illegally tap into a gas line? I mean, I don't know. It seems that could possibly be a option that people might consider. The problem with that is their house will be in violation of New York State building code. So if a building inspector is going to come into a house that has gas that's post January 1 of 26, they won't be able to pass the house for inspection. So that's the issue at hand. To Buffalo and Lloyd, good morning.
Yeah, I heard you mention that they're talking about doing away with your homeowner's insurance if you still have gas appliances in your home after 2030. And I was thinking one way around that might be, right now they have extended warranties on cars, they have extended warranties on household appliances. Why not have an extended warranty on your house for windows and doors and gutters and maybe your roof or whatever? Of course, if somebody trips and falls on your property, they can probably still sue you. So, I mean, there's that. But, I mean, at least you have some coverage of some kind.
Well, so, who would want to own a home that they can't have insured? I mean, from calamity, that's preposterous to think that someone would not have homeowners insurance. But the truth is, if you have a mortgage, you have to have a homeowner's insurance. So basically, they're just saying that they're forcing us into electrification. And there's going to be less and less option. And that is one of them. Another way of controlling it is by taking away the ability to insure a house that has a gas appliance in it. Anyway, stay tuned for more as we continue to keep you updated on this absurdity. Anyway, congratulations to the Bills on a great big win. We'll see you next Saturday, same time, same place. And always remember, life may be hard by the yard, but by the inch, it's a cinch. See everybody on YouTube. Have a great week. See you next week.
Nickelodeon Fox News. The Memorial for